What's up? What's up, y'all? What's up? LinkedIn, YouTube, we are back for another BizBuzz Live. I'm Chris Muzan, taking you through all things finance. Hey, we're going to have a conversation today around retail. We've been talking about the industries. We've been talking about AI. We've been talking about layoffs. We've been talking about all the things. Retail is such a huge part of our culture. Retail is such a big part of what we're about to go through over these next 6 weeks with Black Friday and holiday seasons and all the stuff and gift giving, that we have to have a conversation about the retail experience, the retail industry as a whole, as a way to figure out, is this a place that you should be making money, thinking about making money, thinking about bringing in income? So stick around today for BizBuzz. Let's talk retail. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. Again, I'm your host, Chris Muzan, your financial coach, financial strategist, taking you through all things finance. I hope your Friday is well. I hope as we are halfway through the month, 6 weeks left in 2025, that you are gearing up and planning for this holiday season and into next year. As always, y'all, the reason why we're on this show, the reason why we choose to come to you live here every Friday is because as a financial professional, I've sat down with countless amounts of people to talk about whatever they want to talk about in their financial life, whether it's their insurance, whether it's their savings, whether it's their debt, whether it's their estate plan or their retirement plan. Whatever they want to talk about financially, inevitably the conversation comes back to cash flow. What's coming in and what's going out. Inevitably, that's where the conversation lands. It doesn't really matter for middle income, higher income, lower income. That becomes a conversation. Where's money coming in and where's it going after it comes in? And through the years of having this conversation with people over and over again, where we talk about the same types of things, I think the industry and as a financial professional, we've done well at talking about what goes out, where the money goes, the budgeting, the tracking, all of those types of things. Where we haven't done a great job is talking about how do we make money? How do we make money? It's an important conversation to have because we're only typically taught one way. If you're blessed to grow up in an entrepreneurial family, they might only teach you one way, right? You might not know how to work at a job if you come from an entrepreneurial background. But most of us don't come from that. We come from the other side where we're taught kind of the working model. Go to school, get good grades, get some higher education, get a job that has good benefits, that pays your lifestyle, stay at that job as long as you possibly can. And that creates your work life. That creates how you earn income. Well, in 2025, 2026, that's maybe not sustainable for people. Let's say that. It might not be the most sustainable path for your 27-year-old. It might not be the most sustainable path for your 47 or 57-year-old. But if we've never learned another way of how to earn income, then we're stuck. We're limited with what we can do. We're limited with how much we can invest. We're limited with how much we can save. We're limited with how much debt we can pay off, or how quickly we can pay off our home, or how quickly we pay off the cars or the credit cards. We're limited in how much we put away for retirement. All of it comes from cash flow. So we started this show so we can start talking about what are the industries, what's happening out there, where do you find your niche to be able to create more cash flow for yourself, to be able to make more money. Some people continue to stick at the job, and that's fine. I've always said there's no knock, but you got to learn how to play the game. You got to learn how to climb the corporate ladder. You got to learn how to bounce company to company. You got to learn how to negotiate salary. You got to learn how to leverage. You got to learn how to make your boss look good. You got to learn how to push your boss and your leadership up and make them look good. That's how you make money at a job. It's not like you just show up, you do bare minimum, you just show up and do your job and then expect your income to grow at that job. That's not how it works. If you want to play the job game, the employee game, then you have to play it properly in order to increase your cash flow. If you don't want to play the job game, or you just want to kind of skate by, have the job pay your paycheck and, pay your bills and those things, then you need to go find additional income. That's when you got to start to jump out into the gig economy. Again, not a fan of the driving Ubers and stuff like that. It's really a waste of a lot of time. And it's actually, I don't know if I talked about this on BizBuzz, or I said I was talking to someone about it, or maybe I need to put it into another piece of content, or maybe we just clip this up, Ash, right? But the reason why the the gig economy, the driving, the Uber Eats, DoorDash, those things, the reason why it's a scam and the reason why it's an illusion is because you are in between being an employee and being self-employed. You're in between. Normally, you're one or the other. You're either at the job or you're self-employed. But driving, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, Amazon Flex, like the driving part of it puts you square in the middle. Why? Because you still have a job, because they dictate your pay. That's the thing. They dictate your pay. You can't charge more for your Uber ride. That's already set in stone. You can't charge more to deliver that package to Amazon from Amazon Flex. Like you can't. So that's an employee quality. But they give you the illusion that the time is yours. So you get to drive however long you want or for however much you want, right? Like, you get to control a bit of your time on that side. But that's not true self-employment, because when you're self-employed, you get to control the rate. You get to control how much you charge for something. You get to control who you get it to. You get to control your customer base. So the reason why driving Uber and the gig economy and stuff like that, it's an illusion, because it puts you in between two parts of how we earn income. You're not fully an employee, but you're also not fully self-employed, because you don't get to dictate your rate. And that's why it's a struggle. But in people's minds, they believe like, oh, I'm controlling my time. I can do it. I see quick money, right? The way our brains operate with money, instead of putting that time into being able to build something. But again, you want to skate through at the job, have the job pay your bills, then yeah, you might pick up the side thing. You might pick up the thing that brings you an extra $600, $700 a month. And there you are. For the rest of everyone else that are like, I don't want the job life, I'm not a fan of the gig economy life, well, then we got to learn some skill sets on how to provide value to the marketplace, how to find a need and how to provide value to that need, how to go out, create a demand for something, or find a demand for something, and then be able to supply that demand. That's how you make money. That means you got to up your skill set. That means you got to learn more about sales and marketing and finances and operations and all those things. You have to actually get better in it. Again, we have to keep learning in order to earn, right? We have to learn in order to earn. So there's probably a learning curve of you saying, okay, if I want to make more money, if I want to increase my cash flow, I probably got to learn some things. And so that's important. So the skill sets you got to learn, the sales, marketing, financials, operations side, you got to learn. I use this show to talk about industries to pay attention to. When I sit down and talk with a lot of people, oftentimes they come up with the exact same ideas that they've heard. They don't even know that that's all that is just programming, right? That they've just heard it. They see it here on LinkedIn and on YouTube. They find the 5 best ways to make money, and then they see it over and over again. So they just do the affiliate marketing, and they want to be in real estate, and like network marketing or MLM type things, selling jewelry, selling things that they create. Lifestyle brands were very big. I don't even know. I haven't heard anyone bring that one to me in a while. The lifestyle brand, right? The hat and I got a sweatshirt, I got a hoodie, I got this dope set of pants, right? Like I haven't heard that in a while. But that goes to what we're about to talk a little bit about today. Because once you figure out the industry, you have to understand what changes are happening in that industry. So today we're going to talk about retail. The retail industry is important because it runs a lot of our society. People that did have small businesses, a small retail store, small clothing shop, small thing that they sell in a a mall or something like that, are slowly going away. Right? The retail culture is shifting. Retail culture is shifting. But if you're in this space, if this is something you want to do, if this is something that you've thought about doing, you have to first learn your industry and learn what's happening. And so we're seeing a few different trends. I'm going to highlight a couple of them today. For those of you that say, hey, I come from the retail space, I think I'm good at the retail space. I'm good at selling. I'm good at building demand. I'm good at putting up a storefront or making things look intriguing to people, whatever moves the needle in retail. You have to kind of pay attention to what's happening in the culture as well, because the culture is definitely shifting. Number one thing that we see as the culture shifting is malls, right? I think back in 2020, like right around the pandemic time, when no one could go out, like that's when malls took their major decline. They were already declining, right? Malls were already less foot traffic, less stores, people not being able to pay the rent, stores will close. But then the pandemic hit and it really took a slide because people couldn't go out. You couldn't go shopping in the same ways. Now, where we are in malls, how many of you have been to a mall recently? In the past 30 days, how many of you have been to a mall? Drop a 1 in the chat if that's you, if you're one of the people that has been to a mall. Drop a 2 in the chat if you did that without children. Right? Because again, children might want to take you to the mall because it's just a place, or you might want to take your child to the mall. It's just a place for them to kind of go and run around type of thing. But if you're an adult, what have you used the mall for? Well, here's what we're seeing, though. In all honesty, here's what we're seeing. We're seeing that the culture in malls are changing from more of just stores to an experience. Okay. The malls are going more from just stores to experiences. So if this is you, not as a consumer, but as someone that maybe wants to start a small boutique, a small store, then you have to know what's happening in the retail space. The retail space is shifting from these anchor stores, these anchor big box retailers, these, J.C. Penney's, Sears, Boscov's, back in the day, Lord and Taylor, right? Like these were the anchors at the mall. People came there for that. That's why they had the most square footage. That's why they had the big name outside, because people came there and then in hopes that after they visit their J.C. Penney's or after they visit their, I'm dating myself, Strawbridges, right? Or Lord and Taylor or whatever, right? After they visit it, then they would walk to other stores in the mall. And your little small store gets the runoff from these big anchor stores. That's not happening anymore. The big anchor stores are not there. All of them are going out of business. All of them are laying off people. Boscov, Sears, all of them. They're not even around. So the department store is being reinvented because they're no longer the anchors. So the emphasis in malls is going from purely shopping more to experiences, dining, entertainment, wellness, community events. That's what you're seeing. So if you're a person that's like, oh, I'm good at the retail space, but I can never get foot traffic, I heard the malls are dying, maybe you get in there and not just sell a thing, but give an experience. Put some food around what you do. Put some, interactive things inside of your store so that when people come in, they get to interact. Saw something on TikTok. We might reference this video in King of Prussia Mall, where I am up in the East Coast, right? King of Prussia Mall, they have the Netflix store that's coming out. And this Netflix store that's opening is like a whole experience. There's dining there, but you get to sit in some of your favorite Netflix scenes or movies or, whatever. I don't really watch TV like that, but like whatever series is on, you get to kind of sit and put yourself in that environment. It becomes a whole experience, an immersive experience. That's why people go. You look at the Mall of America, right? Up in Jersey, again, here in the Northeast. We took our daughter there for her birthday, I think, in May or sometime in the summer. I can't remember, but that's what that is. It's a full experience. They got the water park and they got the amusement park and they got the laser tag and they got the go-kart. Like they got all the things there. The little Ferris wheel they have, and it's an entertainment hub. And then it has stores around for you to shop. So that's one of the areas that retail culture is shifting, is in the mall side of things. So pay attention to that. If that's you or you're walking around this holiday season, take in how many experiences are being had versus just products being sold. And if that's something you want to venture into because you come from the retail space or you believe you have an idea, make sure you integrate that inside of your idea, and it could really do well. All right. So second area where we're watching this retail space shift is live social selling. You know who's the biggest advocate for this right now? Gary Vee. Gary Vee is a huge advocate for live social selling. Your whatnots, your TikTok shops, right? Your QVC meets social media. Your home shopping network meets social media. That's all that it is. It's live selling. Live selling. If you are a person that has a product, you've started a little hair care line, you started a makeup brand, you have a I don't know, a book casing that works well for books. I'm not sure. You have a product. Before, how would you go about selling that product? You would set up a landing page. Then if you want to do it digitally, you got to get traction and be high on the SEO rankings and send people to your website or your page, and you had to have little deals that pop up or collect people's information. That was just all 3, 4, 5 years ago. Now what's happening is people are selling live on these shows. Again, if you know the QVC model, by the way, if you've been outside of this country, if you've been in India or China, they've been doing this for like a decade. Like they've been doing this forever, right? Where somebody's just on the screen, like selling you a thing. They sometimes talk fast. They're salespeople, right? They bring energy. And you're just clicking the screen and clicking yes and buying the thing, or you're dropping your bid in there and you're the one that wins it. They've been doing this outside of America for a very, very long time. We're just now catching on to this side. But again, if you are in retail or you want to be in retail, this is the way you see yourself making money because you have a product or you like to sell, then you have to know what's happening in the industry. So live social selling. It's literally, you turn that camera on, like we're sitting here live on LinkedIn and YouTube. If I were just sitting here and I was just selling you products, I put my product up in the screen. I tell you all about it. I give you little discounts. You click it, you purchase it from the store. It ships to you from Amazon. I'm just live selling. I'm on live for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. I was playing around with it, right? Because my daughter is about to start live selling and start to sell like kids books because she likes reading. So we set this up for her. We're going to get her to start doing that. I played around with the platform Whatnot, and I only went live for like 35 or 40 minutes, something like that. And after I got off, it was like, why so short? Right? That was like the message it gave me. It was like, oh man, why so short? Meaning like, if you're going to do that, you have to be live for hours. What's the difference between standing at your store for hours because you're open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and you're there versus being live for the same amount of time? There's a hybrid model that works. Let's say you just understood what I just told you about the landscape of the malls changing, and now you're out there, you have a storefront that you have to pay rent for, but you don't get all the foot traffic you want. Well, nothing stops you from also going live at the same time. You have a physical storefront for people that walk by, but then you're actually on live selling your products all day long. When you don't have a physical customer in front of you, you have digital customers that you've built out. So now you are selling in both ways, both digitally and in person, and your business can boom. Your business, like literally your business can grow in this retail space by this hybrid approach. Now, if you don't want the storefront and you just want to sell online, you can do that too. The live social selling, you can spend all your time, 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day in front of your storefront, your digital storefront. Again, Gary Vee is big on this. I highly recommend, if this is your first time kind of hearing about it, or you've been kind of seeing it but not understanding it, go look up some Gary Vee content, because right now he's talking a ton about it. These live streams, it's just commerce and entertainment put together, real time. Now, obviously, I hear some of you out there that have retail stores are thinking about it. You're not entertaining. You don't want to be in front of the camera. That's fine. That's where the new jobs come in. You used to hire a sales associate to come in and fold your clothes and take care of your customers in-house. Now, maybe you need to find the charismatic young man, charismatic young woman that actually sells the product, and they're just standing in front of the screen. They don't have to fold clothes anymore. They don't have to answer the phone anymore. They don't have to, right? Like, the job description has changed. You can still use people. You're the owner of it, but this is your employee. This is your sales associate. Just like we had back in the day, you can have that now. Authenticity matters when it comes to this. So you want to get people that are authentic as possible, and then you want to let them go out and sell. So that's another area that this retail landscape is changing. Okay. Here's the other one that we're going to kind of land on and finish with, right? The deal culture, deals, advertising. When money is low, people look for deals. And you're watching what's happening in our country right now when it comes to money, when it comes to, benefits and support and all this stuff. I mean, the government's just back up and running, I think I heard, but people are still struggling financially. So the deal culture is big. Now, it's probably always been big, but just it used to be big on certain days. Oh, Labor Day sale, Black Friday sale, right? Those things. I was sharing this with somebody. I needed to get just a white button-down shirt, white collared shirt for an event I was going to, and mine was dirty. So I was just like, let me just go buy one. I walk into one of these department stores. I think it was Boscov's. I walked into Boscov's, and literally everything had a sale sign. Everything. Like the little description thing that they put on top of the shirts or on top of the whatever you're getting, the pants, literally it had, right, a number, that price crossed out, and then on sale for this. Now that's just a marketing tactic. That's probably the actual price of all the things, but just the fact that they have to put that there for people to see, like, oh, I'll go for the sale item. They literally have to put a sale on everything. Oh, mark it down 5%. Some of them are good deals. Buy one, get one free. Buy two, get one free. Buy one, get two free. Whatever it is. Some are just, this used to be $39.99. Now it's $32.99. And just by doing that basic strategy, I feel like Amazon just got sued for this. Or there is a lawsuit pending or something like that for this, where basically they said, like, for Amazon Prime Day, they said that the things that people were buying on Amazon Prime, they actually just marked up to bring back down to the regular price. Like if you had checked that item 2 weeks before Amazon Prime Day came, it was, let's just say $150. And then you come back on Amazon Prime Day, it says was $189, now down to $150. And so it makes people think that that's a deal, even though that's actually what the price was earlier. They just raised it up so they could drop it back down. I'm pretty sure there's something going on with Amazon about that currently right now. But why is this even a thing? It's because Amazon, biggest retailer in the world right now, right, knows how people's how consumers think, how when budgets tighten, retailers start to lean heavily into this deal-driven culture, bundles and promotions and limited time and savings here. That's the way it goes. The deal culture in advertising is huge. So again, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're somebody that has a product to sell, you should be one of those people that is selling it at a discount. Now, I know somebody's like, I don't sell anything at a discount, right? Like luxury items don't go on discount. Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes they lower the price, especially if the demand's not there. And most importantly, you're not a luxury retailer. You sell a product that you can, if you know your numbers, right? Understand business, finance is a part of it. If you know your numbers, you could probably mark it down a little bit more. If you mark it down a little bit more to show that there's a deal, to show that there's a sale, and then you get more customers, you win. Instead of being the old school, like, I'm just going to keep it at my price. No race for the bottom, no deals. I'm just keeping it at my price. Well, that might not get you too far. It might not get you too far long term, right? So we have to make sure we're learning about the industry that we're trying to be in. Today, we talked about retail culture. We talked about how malls are shifting, right? We're talking about how not just malls are shifting, but like the way in which we're selling. Live social selling is now getting much bigger. It's an opportunity for those of you that have a product or want to be in retail that you don't need a lot of overhead. You don't need a storefront. You literally can set up a background with all of your products and just go live for 7 hours a day. Just as if you had to go to that store for 7 hours a day and wait for the 5 people to walk into your store every day and sell to 5 people. Now you can just have a more captive audience of hundreds, if not thousands of people that are looking at your product, and your ability to sell it to them will allow you to make money. It's just upgrading your skill set, understanding where the market is, where the industry is. And then lastly, looking at those deals. Looking at how, when you know consumers don't have as much money, what can you do to increase your eyeballs, to increase the customers that come your way? The retail space is not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Just know that the retail space is not going anywhere. People will always need something. They'll always consume. That's just the way it goes, right? So if this is a viable place for you, again, the reason why we're here is to think about, how are we bringing in income? How do we bring in income? If you have your job, can you sell something else on the side? If you have a product, do you know where and what the best mediums are in 2025, 2026 to be able to sell that product? Do you know? If not, this is the learning curve, but this is how you start to generate more cash flow. Got to be more of an experience side of things. Bring the experiences to things. People want to pay for experiences, not just products anymore. So you have to bring that into your own personal sales business strategy. Okay. Obviously, holiday seasons are coming up. We might talk about that next time we get together, is talking about the holiday seasons and what to watch out for, maybe on the retail side. Maybe we talk about something completely differently, because again, there's so much happening out here. There's so much opportunity, but we got to learn and shift and grow in order to think about things differently. Because when you think about things differently, you get a different outcome. So if you are in the retail space and you're watching this, by the way, send this to somebody that is in the retail space or wants to get into the retail space. I think they'll be able to get a lot of value from what I talked about today, just learning how to shift in their industry. Find the opportunity, find the white space, and then go exploit that white space and get in there. Change things to experiences more than product. Look at this live social selling side of things. Look at being able to really come in and provide value for some of your people by adding these advertising and deals and things like that. And you can make it happen in the retail space, y'all. All right. Listen, it's always a pleasure getting on here with you guys every single Friday. Again, we're here live LinkedIn, live YouTube. Catch the replay again on both of those places, but join us every single Friday for another BizBuzz Live, where we're talking about all things cash flow. How do we bring in more money to really be able to execute on the life that we want, y'all? All right. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week. Peace.